friends, what it's a funny thing. Sometimes the emails fascinates me. The reason why is because the the vast majority of I really believe of the bodybuilders or the young ones, most of the older ones over 30, 40 or something may have heard of him. The mass majority, I don't think ever heard of him. But I'm getting, and that fascinates me, and it makes me feel so good that the younger fellas, they want to start to identify, they don't like what they're seeing now. And they're asking me, did I know Steve Reeves? Did I talk to Steve Reeves? Did I know what he ate and so forth? And it heartened me because Steve Reeves, I can tell you, and if you look him up on online or whatever, you can see his picture. Steve Reeves had the best body structure that I ever saw in my life. He had wide natural clavicles. Of course, it's genetics again, but we're talking about, I get so annoyed with everybody hollering that genetics, like you won't be nobody unless you got genetics. I mean, now it's genetic craze. And I've seen like Ed Theory, a little short guy, look at Columbo. He's not a 6-foot guy, but he looks terrific because he developed maximum based on his size and his height. Why should he be bogged down on genetics? I get so angry with the shit they shoot out here and holding people back, thinking they can't go anywhere because they don't have the genetics. Anyhow, of course, Steve Reeves' shape was genetic. He had nothing to do with it. He had an unbelievably wide clavicle to a very small natural waist structure, small, narrow hips, tremendous calves, which was Nate, which is genetic. Nature gave it to him. Didn't give him, I mean, he worked his calves, but he had an unbelievable calves. He was, I mean, I used to look at him and, because he looked so good. But Steve was beaten by guys that didn't approach the shape he had because Steve didn't develop the muscle density. Steve was the type of guy that used very light weights, high reps. And it would, you'll get developed from it, but you won't get that big, round, work muscles like you get when you use heavier weights. And he didn't do a lot of pullovers or bench press, because he didn't have any depth to his body. And the guys used to make a joke called a pancake Reeves because he didn't have any depth to speak of, according to the other guys. But Steve Reeves was an unbelievable shape. And the only reason I'm making this video is because I'm like, guys, wake me up. And I said, what these kids? And I mean, 15, 16, 17, they pick it up on online, boy, nothing like online. And they asked me, what did I know him? Oh, I met Steve about, during my lifetime, about 4 times. I never talked to Steve in his prime, but I talked to him after he was in his prime. Beautiful body. I mean, you couldn't help from looking at it because the natural shape of it. And it was something you could just look at and admire and aspire. Today, with the Jews, the guys look like all got muscles in their ass. And all. The kids I can see now are getting a little frustrated because there's nobody they can look at and say, wow, I'd like to look like that. And that's what Steve was. Now, Steve mainly believed in, right? And he was a 3-day-a-week man, too. He used to do the maximum 4 sets, 15 reps. I mean, we didn't think of it. That's why he used to train. He was into protein, but not heavy like, because they didn't have the protein powders, the creatine, and all that stuff then. But he understood protein instinctively. And I talked about his diet, and he was pretty more, I think, ahead of a varied diet than we are today. He believed in a varied diet, which is the key to all health. And I mean, you can't go wrong. But that's the basis of him His workout was basic because, in those days, it couldn't be nothing but basic. There was no machines. The machines you guys play around with today wasn't even thought about when we were training. And Reeves was before me. I also looked at Reeves and was just fascinated by his body because he was well muscled, but not the density of muscle and not the hardness and the work look like guys like Clarence Ross and John Grimmick, which both beat him in contests. But I'm just telling you that basically Steve Reeves had a very basic workout. There was nothing intriguing about it. Everybody said, what's your routine? Routines are so individualistic. It is not something you could pass on. Now, I never did follow routines. We create our own routines, because we know what we want to do with our bodies and we know how our bodies are responding. Because we were very young, and you know how young fellas are. That's what I like about what I can tell you fellas. I can tell you how I felt from the time I was 10 to the day, because I remember so much the way my mind changed, the way my training changed, my energy changed. You get heavier and thicker muscles as you get older up to a certain state. But that's what I wanted to tell you about Steve Reeves. I didn't know how to answer these guys because they think I know everything because I'm a geezer. But I don't know everything. But I knew Reeves. I mean, and when you say you know somebody, not we didn't hang out and drink beer together, but I knew him enough that when we saw each other, it was an immediate connection. That's what's so beautiful about bodybuilding. Guys that have done something, it's like a fraternity. When I saw Reeves, like I knew him all my life. When I first saw it, because of the magazine and because I connected with him. And he shook my hand, he hugged me, and I was saying, good, it's a good feeling. But in any case, that's the basic reason to show you he was high rep, moderate weights he used. He never was a man that pushed himself, doing that last shaking rep. He never was that type of guy. But that's basic and a terrific personality, laid back, beautiful human being. So, my friends, that's all I can tell you about Steve Reeves. But I hope it'll help you out a little bit. All the people that puzzle about him. Terrific guy. And what I liked about him is the way he was so disciplined. He believed in high reps. I never believed doing over 10. And low sets too. My friends, to be continued.